Welcome to Six Figure Coaches with Luke Charlton, where every week we interview a successful coach and break down their business. We take you behind the scenes in their marketing, advertising, and sales campaigns. We show you what's working. We show you their frameworks, their proven strategies, so you can implement them in your business to grow. Now let's bring on this week's guest. Here is your host, Luke Charlton. Hey, this is Luke Charlton here, and welcome back to another episode of the Six Figure Coaches Show. And very excited to have you here. Very excited to have on today's guest with another super successful coach to interview about their marketing and sales process. I'll bring them on in just one moment. Excited to dive into their business. Now, just before we do, remember, the Six Figure Coaches Show premieres inside the Hermit Hole every week. So if you go to thehermithole.com, that's my private Facebook community, and you'll see it premiere there each week. Usually it'll be every Tuesday at around 9 a.m. my time, somewhere around there, but it'll premiere in there. And so if you want to see these interviews first before it goes live on the on like iTunes and Stitcher and all the other podcasting platforms, get early access to these trainings, then all you have to do is go to thehermithole.com. You'll be able to join that group for free. And there's also other great content over there as well to help you grow your coaching business. So with that being said, let me bring on today's guest. So today we have Chris Prefontaine. Now, Chris, I'll bring Chris on right now. Chris is a real estate coach who basically helps people wanting to get into real estate to invest and become successful with real estate. So Chris, super excited to have you on the podcast today. I know we've got a very limited time, so I want to dive into your business as quickly as possible today. So just before we do dive into your marketing and sales process, can you just give the coaches listening a little bit of background as to how you actually became a real estate coach and kind of attained the level of success that you're at the moment?
Sure. I'll fast forward for the sake of time, Luke, and thanks so much for having me on. Hopefully we can drop some good nuggets here. I've been at real estate 31 years, but after the 2008 crash, so what's that, 14 years ago or so,
yep.
We were forced to re-engineer our business. And in doing that, we had literally a request locally from a gentleman who was at the military. We have a military college, a war college. And
yep.
He was going back to civilian life. And he said, "Hey, heard about what you're doing. Could you perhaps help me?" Now, I had coached in the past. I didn't coach investors. I coached realtors and other things in the past. So I said, sure. Fast forward, we then hooked up with which is how we started the business. We cross-pollinated lists. We hooked up with a woman who had a VA service, virtual assistant service.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, if you got something good content, I'll send it to my list." And did a quick ebook. I called it "Eat That Sandwich." It was about sandwich leases. And that had about 300 or 400 opt-ins. And that's literally started our business back in 2013 or 14.
Oh, wow. So you've been teaching real estate since what's that, almost a decade now?
1991, I've been in it, and then I've been teaching it since, at different forms since 2001, specifically investors since 2014.
Okay, great. So what is it? Is it you doing like single family, what is it, like multifamily kind of like residential, like multi-units, or what type of real estate are you actually coaching?
We teach how to buy real estate without banks or your own cash or signing on loans. So I answered that way because you can do that with any asset class. You can literally do it with planes and cars, but we teach single families because, you get the shiny object syndrome. Students will go all over the place, but when they get other leads, we teach them how to do it, but it's mostly single family residential.
Oh, cool. So just curious, how do you teach them to purchase it without using the banks?
Yeah, we do everything: owner financing, lease purchase, or what they call subject to existing financing. And this can be done all over the world because, again, it's not new. It's been around since 1600s. We just wrapped a system around it, trademarked some things, and made it very supportive.
Interesting. All right. So let's dive into, that gives a little bit of insight into your offer. Now, the way that you structure your business in terms of your programs, is it just like one main program that they buy, or is there multiple levels, like a mastermind at the top? Like, what's the business model that you're currently using?
So it's unique now. If I come to today's time, we don't have sort of an ascension ladder, but I'll start that way just so you understand it, because someone can start at the top too.
Mm.
Everybody goes through the basic foundational course. It's called the QLS, Quantum Leap System Home Study Program. It was $997. It's $1,500. The intent of that is to serve as a resource center to serve them to do deals. It's not like they do it once and they're done. It's a resource center that they keep literally for life. So then after that, they can join, I'm going to go up the ladder, so to speak. They can join a 90-day group coaching program, which is by Zoom, only once a week calls, no interaction in between, except for they have access to our Slack platform, which is pretty unique because everybody's in there. Yep. The next 3 levels are what we call associate levels. And those levels, and that's all we have, 3 more levels. And those levels actually partner and revenue share real estate deals with us. So we're teaching them in their learning and we're revenue sharing. They go from 25,000 is we call a starter level, 50,000 is an immersion level, and high 6, who I still work with at the highest level, is called, is $100,000. We have about a third.
Okay, so sorry, it costs $100,000 to invest in the top level program. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, and that gives them the right to work with myself and the other top coach, as well as revenue share deals with us. So each level, it's really exposure to who and how many touch points, right, and how much help they get.
Okay, interesting. And have you always had, one of the things I want to point out to the coaches listening is just like different ways that you can structure offers, right? That's quite interesting with revenue share. And I've got another mate that does revenue share as well. He's got an agency. And so how long have you always done the revenue share model, or is it something that you brought in? When did that start?
No, it was somewhere around 2016. I hosted our first event. It's comical to think back. It was 14 people in a basement. And I created this course on a flip camera with 10 videos that I said, you got to buy this course before you come to the event. Yep. And that was, I think that was fall of 16. Yep. That has morphed into 60 modules and audio and video. And then I met with a couple kind of brainstorm partners back in 17, and they said, hey, why don't you kind of joint venture deals with people? Yeah. We created a $15,000 program back then. Yep. And then we started creating these 3 different levels. They weren't always the prices they are now. It was like 15, 25, and 60. And now we've over the years increased the price, and the demand has gone up, not down, just because there's proof of concept everywhere now,
Right. And do you find, so do you do some of the work for them in those top level programs?
Good question. So it's not really a done for you. It's specifically, even in our contracts, it even says, look, we're a consultant. However, at those 3 higher levels, the coaches and me at the highest level, we do call sellers and get in the trenches and work to deal with them so that they can see how it's done. And that usually takes place for the first 3 or 5 deals, while they're getting their feet wet. Okay. I just don't think, from a coaching standpoint, no matter what industry you're in, there's too many coaching programs to just sell stuff. And there's no implementation. I think the best way to learn is that interactive, granted for real estate, it works well, but interactive learning, like in the trenches, doing it with someone so they don't get frustrated.
Yeah, that's, again, for the coaches listening, like I agree. Like if you can, that's where I think, there's such a push with all these gurus saying like, you got to kind of just throw them in a Facebook group or like a group coaching program. But I see the value, and people are kind of going away from one-on-one coaching. But I see like if you provide one-on-one coaching now, it's almost like a differentiator for you because everyone's doing the group coaching thing. But it's so powerful if you can do some of it for them and or offer really intense kind of hand-holding one-on-one coaching. I find my personal clients, because I do that with them as well, with one-on-one for the highest level, and they just get way better results, just so much better results when you can get, as you said, get in the trenches with them. So that's very interesting. So
80% of the 70 to 80% of the transactions being done now are from the highest level. Yeah. Now, one could argue that it's the coaching. One could argue that they're more committed, they're both true, right?
Yeah, very true, very true. Now, what does your marketing and sales process look like? Do you use like a particular funnel to get clients? Is it referrals? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, when it first started, it was simply affiliate marketing. I would find someone like that virtual assistant company. They would send my emails to their database. We'd get opt-ins. We'd pay them a very hefty, usually 50% of that course. That was fine at the beginning. As we grew, we were producing this is around 18, not too long ago. We were producing some YouTube videos and growing that platform. And then we were producing so much and outsourcing it that we hired our own media guy to come in. Now he's our CMO, And so now we have a full social media, full studio where we produce everything. It's entirely different than it was 5 years ago. So I wanted that progression so the coaches don't get overwhelmed with, do I have to jump to that stage? No, you just, you one step at a time, you piecemeal it together. So now it's affiliate, it's social media, it's events, it's live webinars, it's automated webinars. We do all of that now, but we did them one at a time back then.
Okay. So what did you initially, let me ask this then. What do you, like if there's a coach listening that just wants to attract high paying clients, is there a particular strategy that you would recommend that they implement?
Yeah, this might not be the answer they want to hear, but here's what I did. So you need proof of concept, right? And so in my case, I was in the business long enough, but that still wasn't good enough. I've been at this 31 years, but what was important is that we got success with other people. I remember, Luke, that first event saying to my son and son-in-law, because that's who started building it with me. I said, man, we just got to get someone to do a deal, right? That was what we wanted to do. We needed proof of concept. And now we do, 20 a month. It's not a high month. So you got to get proof of concept. And what does that take? It takes pouring probably extra energy than I would now. I just don't need to do that now. Pull out all the stops and get some stories. That make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I said the same thing to coaches like who are just starting out. What you want to do is have your first kind of like 10 foundation clients and just go get really good, even if you have to work for like almost nothing, right? Like $500 or even free, right? Just go get some good foundations, case studies, proof of concept, and then build your business around those case studies to show that what you have works, but also to show yourself that what you have works. Because I think when coaches is just starting out, there's that lack of belief, right? And they feel like they're almost like a fraud sometimes when they're selling like this program and they don't feel like, oh, this is going to work. I'm not sure. But if you've got like these foundation of case studies, you have more confidence now in yourself, as well as the market has more confidence in what you're selling as well.
Yeah, there's two things that come to mind when you say high end, when you were saying that. Two things, and they're both super important as I look back. In 2017, we wrote our first book. We just had our fourth bestseller. But that does make you in the real or perceived. It makes you the authority. So I would tell you to absolutely find a way to do that. And if it starts with an ebook like I did over a weekend and then it morphed into a best-selling book, great. And the second thing is these interviews. For me, not this audience is about helping you guys as coaches. But for most of my audiences are people looking to maybe become an investor or escape their W-2 is our big avatar. So you getting out and getting on shows and you hosting your own show, again, to be the authority like you do. I think it's huge to have your own show. And those two things, the book and the shows, on my own and outgoing shows like this, super important. High quality leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in terms of, so you're doing a few different things with your funnels now. Are you running paid advertising as well, or is it still warm?
We just started. People laugh because we got to we hit Inc. 5000 the last 2 years in a row, fastest growing companies in the US. Yep. And we had no sales department and no paid advertising until like last year. And we just tinkered with it. Yeah, this year we're not even spending a lot. You could say we're spending next to nothing. And we're just building a sales department now this year.
And can I ask, like, what is the strategy that you're going to be using with the paid advertising? Is it a webinar that you're going to, or what are you going to be promoting?
We have two funnels that are our main funnels. One is a recurring webinar. Yes. Three, sorry. One is a recurring webinar. One is every other week, a live workshop that my son-in-law now conducts. I don't have to. Yeah. That's been super lucrative. And then the book funnel is huge. So the book I told you about, we take two of our best sellers and we actually mail out the hard copy books. We don't say put money in for shipping, like it's free. Yeah. And we mail it out. It costs us about $20 or $22. And it is by far one of our biggest converters. Because again, you're talking about avid learners. And if they're avid learners, they usually want to learn from whatever you're doing, right? Yeah. And so that's worked extremely well, those funnels.
Okay, cool. So you find your best leads come from selling a book. Is that what I'm hearing?
Giving the book away.
Giving the book away.
In the funnel. Yeah, we say, I'll give it to your listeners. Like we give it to any listeners that want to get it for free, and we don't charge them even for shipping. Yeah. And then the workshop funnel. Those are two great funnels. Workshop is like a live webinar.
With the book funnel, do you have like upsells that they go through after they? So is it free plus shipping? Is that the offer?
It's all free shipping and free hard copy books, not electronic. We put a package together. We even throw a t-shirt in there.
Where does the cash flow come from for you to be able to pay for those ads?
Well, there's we used to use Infusionsoft. We now use HubSpot. We kind of outgrew Infusionsoft, which is now Keep, I think. So in that funnel, after they get the book, there's a drip sequence of emails. There's a sequence of texts. And now that we have a sales person working with us, he will call all of them. And then those the funnel is funneling them what? To a live event or to a recurring event.
Okay, so you guys have an outbound team or starting to build one?
Just started. Okay, it used to be us.
So basically you take a $20 loss on that book, but you get it back from the outbound. Is that right?
Yeah, big time. Okay. Yeah, it's the highest converter for dollars spent. On the ad front, we're doing Facebook, YouTube, Google. But again, minimal. I think we're at like $3 or $4 grand a month. Now, I would have said 4 years ago, no way would I do that. So, but it's still minimal for our sales. We went from 2014, I think we did 14 grand that year. Yep. And then we went to 250 and then 500. And, this year we'll go over 4 million. So, I mean, we've scaled every single year consecutively.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. So, yeah, because the coaches listening in, they're probably a lot of just getting started with advertising or they're having it run ads. So, I've got higher level clients in doing 7 figures and they have a similar model where they will take a loss, but because they have, back end systems right in place, they get that revenue back. But for like a solo coach just getting started, that's not really a model that they would be able to use for their business.
No, go with the affiliate route.
So
go with the affiliate route. Find out where your people that you want to coach, where do they hang out? Where do they camp out?
Yeah.
I went to the woman who was a virtual assistant for investors because I thought, okay, I can talk to those investors.
Yeah.
So find out where they hang out and provide those and drive them to a product or a phone call.
So find out where they hang out and find out kind of who the influencers are that have the email list. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Interesting. And is there any particular strategy that you would use to, like, let's say I'm a coach kind of just getting started. Maybe I have those foundation clients, right? So I've got some case studies. I'm an expert. And I want to, there's some influencers that I've identified as who maybe has an email list or a following of my clients. How would I build a relationship with that person so they promote me?
I would contact them and you're putting them on a pedestal. You're saying to them in a sense, in your own words, I want to provide free content for your database so that you look like you're giving them perceived value. 1, 2, when your clients, your database opts in, and if they purchase my product or opt in, I'm going to pay you an affiliate commission on those. There's not too many people that say no to that. And that's how we built our business at the beginning. And sometimes they want to go to your database too. And if you're small, you're just going to have to grow together.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, a good tip for, let's say you haven't, as a coach has an email list of 500, but this person has like 10,000. Well, with email lists, like that coach with 10,000 doesn't have to promote you to their whole list of 10,000. You could say to them, look, I'll promote you to 500 of mine. You promote me to 500 of yours. Right. So don't think just because they've got a much bigger list that you can't make it work. You just promote to the same amount of people, if that makes sense. And that kind of makes it a bit more.
Or don't bring it up at first until they ask you for a
exactly
right.
that too. And another strategy actually is to your strategy, right, is lead with value is what you were saying there. Lead with value. How can you deliver value to them? If you've got your own podcast like this, right, interviewing them on your own podcast, promoting them to your audience in the first instance is a good way to start that relationship too.
100%.
Great. So what are some of, how are we going for time here? Okay, cool. Got a few more minutes. Now, what are some of the, I guess, your biggest aha moments, or however you want to think about it, maybe biggest challenges that you've experienced when it comes to marketing and selling your coaching services?
2 things come to mind. One is getting me out of the picture. In other words, thinking I had to write the email, I had to talk to all the people. It was understanding that no, I don't. Once I train people up, which leads me to the second challenge. The second challenge is investors I teach, coaches I talk to, we network. They're all afraid to hire, and they always look at it as an expense. But when you hire properly, think of it mentally as pulling revenue up versus an expense. Because again, if you hire properly, you're going to fill seats that drive revenue. I mentioned that I was outsourcing YouTube videos, cutting, editing, etc. until I said, well, that's crazy, that amount of money. I'll put someone in there. Well, that was the biggest ever expense I ever thought I would ever pay anyone in my company. Now it's minuscule, but it was a big, big move, and it drove the quality and the revenue through the roof. So you just got to think of that when it's just a mind shift. I don't know if that helps.
No, it does. It's funny that you're bringing that up, because I've been running ads since 2016, and I've just been doing it kind of like on my own, right? Like uploading the ads and working with clients that way. And I hate that part of the advertising is uploading, and I shouldn't be doing that. And a few months ago, I hired my campaign manager for the first time, and just, man, like my revenue has just gone through the roof over the last, just a couple of months since hiring her, because now I'm not, that's like, 2 or 3 hours a day she's saving me, which has allowed me to then bring on more clients, right? Yeah. So it's it feels so good not having to do that stuff that I didn't like doing as well. I'm sure there was parts of what you've now hired for that you wasn't your genius zone, didn't really like doing. Other people love doing it, and everyone's happier, right? You're earning more. They're like their role. You're happier in what you're doing as well. You get to focus on what you love about your company. So it is a mindset shift. It is a bit scary, but it will actually help you grow. I think it's great advice. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And now, what are some a couple of, actually, you know what? Let's finish the interview with, if you could give one message to the coaches listening right now, one message. Yeah, if you had, you made a picture yourself at the top of a mountain and you could only say one thing to them in order to help them succeed in their business, what would that one thing be?
Overwhelmingly clear is this that came to mind when you said it, and that is, someone's done your niche, your business, your growth pattern that you seek, your lifestyle you seek. You need to connect with them and follow them, model them and follow their lead. There are some $250 to $2 million ideas that I got from 5-minute conversations, from seeking out people that I thought did something that I wanted to do. The partnering program was not my idea. Someone gave me that idea. So that's one example, but that's drove millions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I can attest to that as well. My own story, there's no way I'd be where I am today without, mentors. There's some really bad experts out there, but if you find the right one, they can seriously transform your life. So with that being said, Chris, thanks for coming on. You shared some really amazing insights on your coaching business, how to become a successful coach. Now, where can the coaches listening go to learn more about you and what it is that you do?
What's cool? Go to experience the funnel of the book, because we talked about it, actually. This is a good time. Just go to wickedsmartbooks.com/Luke. I'll make sure on that link you get the books for free and you watch the funnel. And that way you can literally just steal that whole funnel. Recreate it for yourself. Great. Good for you.
I'm going to check that out, actually. So what was it again? wickedsmartbooks.com.
Wickedsmartbooks with an S.com/Luke.
Okay. I'll check that. That's cool. Thanks, Chris. I'll check that out after the interview.
No problem.
Yeah, it's coming up now. So, interesting funnel. Like, I haven't seen one where it's just like no shipping, no anything, just send it out. So that's very interesting. I'm going to check that out. So once again, Chris, thanks for jumping on, and for any other coaches listening that wants to come onto the show, remember, you can go and apply, be on the show at podcast.lukecharlton.com. You can come on, I'll interview you, and we'll promote you and your coaching business. So Chris, once again, thanks for jumping on, and good luck with your coaching business.
Thanks, buddy. Sorry we were so tight on time. Hope we were helpful.
It's all good.